My mother-in-law slapped me so hard my shoulder cracked against the living room wall. I was 8 months pregnant with twins, one hand wrapped around my belly, the other reaching for the grocery money my brother-in-law had just pulled from my wallet. My sister-in-law spit near my feet and whispered, "Gold digger." Then Ryan laughed, like watching me shake was entertainment. They thought my husband, Henry, was still overseas on deployment. They thought no one would ever believe me, but the front door opened behind them. Boots stepped onto the carpet, and Henry's first sentence didn't just silence the room, it changed who was guilty forever. Before that door opened, I had spent 8 months pretending I was fine. Our apartment sat on the quiet side of a military town, above a laundromat that always smelled like warm dryer sheets and cheap detergent. In the mornings, I would make half-calf coffee I barely drank, stand barefoot on the kitchen tile, and read Henry's letters with both hands resting over the 2 small lives kicking inside me. His boots were still by the closet. His faded high school sweatshirt still hung on the back of a chair. Some days, I pressed my face into it just to remember what safe smelled like. I was 31, a freelance accountant, and before I married Henry, I had my own place, my own savings, my own clients who trusted me with their books. I was not rich, but I was steady. Then I fell in love with a soldier who laughed like sunlight through blinds and made every rented room feel like home. When he got orders, I followed him. I told myself love meant building wherever life dropped us. Then the twins came. At first, I was terrified in the sweetest way. 2 heartbeats on one screen, 2 tiny profiles. Henry cried over the video call and kept saying, "That's our whole world right there." But by the 3rd trimester, my doctor's voice had changed. Less movement, more rest, more protein, less stress. She looked at me over her glasses and said, "Willow, I need you to take this seriously." I did, or I tried to. Henry was overseas and I refused to send him fear disguised as honesty. I wrote about baby names, the neighbor's cat, the Walmart cake I bought because the craving hit at midnight. I did not write about Linda. Linda was Henry's mother and in the beginning, she called to check on me. Her voice came through sweet and sharp like sugar hiding broken glass. "Are you sure you need all those groceries?" she asked once. Another time, she wanted to know why the medical bills were so high. Then came the little comments. "You got comfortable real fast. Henry always helped his real family before he met you." Ashley, Henry's younger sister, was worse in texts. Ryan, her husband, had already borrowed money for car payments and other bills, always promising to pay it back. He never did. Each request sounded small, but together they added up to a few $1,000s and a knot in my stomach. Still, I smiled. I kept the peace. I told myself it was just family tension. Then Linda copied our apartment key and everything in my home stopped feeling like mine. Linda's key did not sound like mine. Mine turned softly because I held the knob so it would not wake babies. Linda's scraped through the lock like a warning. The first time she used it, I was folding yellow onuses. The second time, I was asleep. By the 3rd time, I sat up whenever footsteps crossed the hallway. She rarely came alone. Ashley would trail behind her smelling like peppermint gum. Her sunglasses pushed into her hair like she had walked onto a stage. Ryan usually came last, hands in his pockets, eyes already looking around for something that did not belong to him. "Just checking on you," Linda would say. But checking on me meant opening my fridge. It meant picking up receipts from the counter. It meant lifting my mail, reading medical bills, and sighing like my pregnancy was a bad investment. One afternoon, she pulled protein shakes from the pantry. "This is what you're spending money on?" My doctor recommended them. I said. The twins need a mother who understands Henry is not an open wallet. Ashley cut in. Ryan chuckled near the kitchen island. I saw my purse sitting there, half open. I had left it out for 2 minutes. 2 minutes was all they needed to remind me I was not safe in my own home. I tried to stay calm. I told myself Linda was scared. I told myself Ashley was protective. I told myself Ryan was just immature. That is what you do when you love someone and the people hurting you are tied to them by blood. You make excuses until the excuses start choking you. At my next appointment, the doctor pressed the ultrasound wand over my belly and frowned just enough for my heart to stop. More rest, she said. Less stress. You cannot keep pushing yourself like this. I nodded, then cried in the parking lot where nobody could hear me. Or I thought nobody could. Ashley's voice came from behind a parked SUV. Must be nice, she said. Arms crossed, turning baby stuff into a full-time job. I wiped my face. Please don't do this here. Then stop spending Henry's money like you earned it. That sentence stayed with me all the way home. The truth was, Henry and I had tried for almost 2 years to have these babies. I had cried over negative tests. He had held me on bathroom floors. Before him, I had paid my own rent, built my own client list, and saved enough to survive without anyone. Linda knew none of that because she had never asked. She had already written my character in her head and in her story. I was the villain. 3 days later, I put cash in an envelope marked groceries, enough for food and supplements my doctor wanted that week. Linda saw it before I could tuck it away. Ryan picked it up and smiled. Gold digger. And Ryan laughed while my hand started to shake. After Ashley said that word, something inside me went quiet. Not peaceful, not calm, just quiet, like a house after a window breaks. That night, I sat on the edge of our bed with 2 tiny Onesies laid across my lap. One had little ducks on it. The other said Daddy's sidekick in blue letters. I ran my thumb over the stitching until the words blurred. One of the babies kicked. I pressed both hands to my belly and whispered, "I'm sorry." I was sorry for the stress, sorry for the crying, sorry that before they had even taken their first breath, they were already being treated like evidence in a case against me. My phone was beside me. Henry's last message glowed on the screen, counting the days. "You and those babies are my home." I wanted to call him so badly my chest hurt. I wanted to tell him everything, the key, the bills, the way Ryan looked through my purse, the way Linda said real family like I was a temporary mistake. But Henry was still overseas. I knew the sound of his voice when he was tired and trying not to show it. I knew what it meant to distract a man who had to stay sharp every hour of the day. So, I typed, "We're okay. Babies are active tonight." Then I deleted the truth again. The next morning, I opened my laptop at the kitchen table. The sun was weak through the blinds. The apartment smelled like toast I had burned and forgotten. My hands shook as I made a list. Ryan's car payment, $500. Ashley's emergency bill, $300. Cash. Linda said Henry would want his mother to have $200. Groceries missing from my wallet, again and again. I rounded the total to a few $1,000s because exact numbers did not matter as much as the pattern. I took pictures of bills, payments, messages, and medical paperwork. I saved the doctor's instructions about rest, nutrition, and stress. I was not planning revenge. I was building proof. Later that afternoon, Mrs. Patel found me sitting on the hallway bench because I had gotten dizzy bringing in a bag of groceries. She was small with silver hair pinned at the back and a voice softer than warm tea. "They bothering you again?" she asked. I tried to smile. Nothing came out. Her face changed. "I hear more than they think." That was the first time someone outside that family looked at me like I was not crazy. She touched my arm gently. "If you need someone to say what I saw, I will say it." I went back inside and cried into a rough kitchen towel. Then Linda texted, "We're coming tomorrow. You need someone to talk sense into you." I stared at the words until the screen dimmed. I put my proof in the drawer beside the couch. I set my phone within reach. I locked the door, even though I knew Linda had a key. What I did not know was that Henry's deployment timeline had changed. And what Linda did not know was that tomorrow, I would not be alone. The next afternoon, I stood at the kitchen counter deciding whether to order groceries. My back ached, the twins pressed low, rain tapped the windows. I had just pulled the envelope from my purse when the locks scraped. Linda stepped in like she owned the place. Ashley followed chewing gum. Ryan came last. I gripped the counter. "You can't keep coming in like this." Linda's eyes dropped to the envelope. "What is that?" "Money for food." "For food." Ashley repeated. Ryan reached before I could move. He took the envelope and opened it. "Ryan, give it back." He counted the bills. "Looks like Henry's money. It's for groceries and the supplements my doctor ordered." Linda's face hardened. "Your doctor, your shakes, your emergencies. It's a— Stop." She leaned closer. "Gold digger." I reached for the envelope. Linda slapped me. The sound cracked through the apartment. My shoulder slammed into the wall beside our wedding photo. The frame jumped crooked. For 1 second, all I heard was the refrigerator humming. My hand flew to my belly. Ashley looked down, then spit near my feet. Ryan laughed. Real laughter, low and ugly, while he held my grocery money. "Henry would be ashamed of you," Linda said. That was when the door opened. Hallway light spilled across the carpet. Boots stepped inside. Henry stood there in uniform, rain dark on his shoulders, a small airport gift bag in one hand. Behind him were Caleb and Mason. Nobody moved. Henry looked at my cheek, my hand on my belly, the crooked wedding photo, the envelope in Ryan's hand. His face changed. Linda recovered first. "Henry, sweetheart, this is not what it looks like." Henry set the gift bag down. "Put the money on the table." Ryan blinked. "Man, we were just now." Ryan's smile died. The bills landed on the table. Linda lifted her chin. "I was protecting you from a woman who stepped away from my wife." His voice was quiet. That made it colder. Ashley folded her arms. "You don't know what she's been doing while you're gone." Caleb pulled out his phone. "We heard yelling before the door opened." "Keep talking." Linda went pale. Henry walked to me. He touched my cheek. "Did she hit you anywhere else?" "No," I whispered. "But Ryan took the grocery money." Henry turned back. "You assaulted my pregnant wife in front of witnesses while taking money meant for her medical care." The room went silent. Ashley stopped chewing. Ryan stared at the floor. Linda's hand dropped. Henry's voice stayed level. "Willow had a career before me, savings before me, a home before me. We tried for these babies for almost 2 years. While I was gone, she sent care packages to my unit and you treated her like a thief." Mason stepped forward. "Coffee, books, socks, snacks, enough for everyone." Linda's eyes flashed. "I am your mother." Henry looked at her like those words had lost power. And she is my family. Something inside me steadied. I opened the drawer beside the couch and pulled out my folder. My hands shook, but my voice did not. These are the bills, payments, messages, and every dollar Ryan borrowed or took. It comes to a few thousand. I want the key back. I want the money returned in writing, and I want you to leave. Ashley scoffed. Over a family argument. Caleb's phone stayed raised. That was not an argument. Linda stared at Henry. You would choose her over us. Henry did not hesitate. I already did when I married her. Ryan placed the copied key on the table. Ashley grabbed her purse. Linda was last. This is not over, she said. Henry opened the door. It is for today. Come back without permission, and the next conversation goes through proper channels. They walked out smaller than they had entered. Henry locked the door and pulled me into his arms. I thought justice would feel loud. It felt like breathing. For a long minute, Henry just held me. His uniform was damp from the rain. His chest rose fast under my cheek. I could hear his heartbeat, hard and uneven, like he was still fighting to stay calm. Are you hurting? He asked. My cheek burns, I said. The babies are moving. He knelt in front of me and placed both hands over my belly. One twin kicked against his palm. His face broke in a way I had never seen. Not weak, not scared, just human. I'm so sorry, he whispered. Caleb and Mason stayed near the door until Henry nodded that I was safe. Caleb lowered his phone. Mason picked up the money Ryan had dropped and set it beside my folder. Careful, like it was evidence and not just wrinkled grocery cash. We'll write what we saw, Caleb said. Then they left us with the quiet. 5 minutes later, Mrs. Patel knocked. Henry stiffened until I touched his sleeve. It's okay. She stood in the hallway holding a pot of soup wrapped in a towel. Steam fogged her glasses. I heard enough, she said, too much. Her eyes moved to my cheek, then to the crooked wedding photo. She did not ask me to explain. They come when he is gone, she told Henry. They yell. They take things. I will say it if someone asks. Henry swallowed. Thank you, That night, our apartment changed. Not because the walls moved, because Henry did. He replaced the lock before dinner. The old one hit the trash can with a heavy sound that made my shoulders drop for the first time in months. He called his supervisor, then a family support office, then someone who explained what our options were if Linda tried to come back. No one yelled. No one threatened. Everything was written down. Bills, payments, messages, medical paperwork. Ryan's name appeared again and again. Car payment, emergency loan, cash that never returned. We rounded it to a few $1,000s and asked for a repayment agreement in writing. Linda lost access to everything she had used as a weapon. No apartment key, no medical updates, no financial information, no direct contact with me unless I agreed to it. Ashley could whisper whatever she wanted, but now there were witnesses. A week later, Ryan signed the agreement. Linda did not apologize. Not really. She sent one message saying she had been emotional. Henry deleted it after saving a copy. She still thinks this is about winning, he said. I looked at the ultrasound photo on the fridge. 2 tiny profiles facing each other like they were sharing a secret. No, I said, it's about peace. Henry picked up our wedding photo. The one that had gone crooked when my shoulder hit the wall. For a moment, I thought he would hang it back. Instead, he set it beside the ultrasound. Our family starts here, he said. That night, I slept without listening for a key in the lock. There was no key anymore. Outside, rain kept tapping the windows, soft and steady. For once, it did not sound lonely. It sounded like the world rinsing something ugly off our door and leaving the air clean again. I used to believe keeping peace meant swallowing pain. I thought silence made me a better wife, a better daughter-in-law, a safer person to love. But silence did not protect my marriage. It protected the people hurting me. After Henry came home, our apartment became small again in the best way. Mrs. Patel still brought soup sometimes. The baby clothes stayed folded by the window. The bills and payments Linda once used to shame me became ordinary papers in a drawer, nothing more. I learned that family is not the person who claims ownership over your life. Family is the person who stands between you and the door when harm tries to walk back in. Sometimes, justice is not loud. Sometimes, it is a locked door, a sleeping mother breathing freely. So, if you have ever had to protect someone from the very people who were supposed to love them, you are not alone. Share your story in the comments and subscribe because the next story may be the one someone else needs to hear.